After years of wedded bliss, Nick couldn't take it any longer. Melissa, through no fault of her own, had grown up in a home without cable TV or a VCR. If that last sentence confused you, Google it. This had resulted in her having very little pop culture movie knowledge. In order to right this injustice, the duo will watch and discuss movie after movie until Melissa has caught up with the zeitgeist of her generation. Welcome to their journey. Wow.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am conflicted.
You are. I've never seen you this conflicted.
I'm sure I've been this conflicted before, but I am quite conflicted. I'm hitting like a nerd block in my head of like, I'm supposed to be showing you movies that I've seen that you haven't seen and asking you questions. That's the whole point, right? But I realized the movie I researched to do this week is a movie I don't think I've seen. And I saw the sequel of the movie, and that's what I was picturing was part one. And so now the nerd in me is like, I can't show them to her out of order because that'll just be weird. And then I thought of another movie from my childhood, and I looked that up, and that was also a sequel. And that did the same circular loop of like, what am I going to do? So anyway, I just made an executive decision. I'm going with the original one that I picked that I may or may not have seen because I want to see it.
Hey, I'm glad you made that decision.
Yes. So the movie, without further ado, is Swamp Thing.
Ooh, Swamp Thing.
Yes. Have you ever heard of this film?
I've heard of the film. I have not seen the film. And I love that you're telling me this on a dark and stormy night.
It is a dark and stormy night. I was literally outside and I came back looking like, I don't know, a New England fisherman because my raincoat was slick with water and rain and everything. Yeah.
Yes. All you needed were like galoshes.
That's true. I did. I did not pack my galoshes because we're not near a large body of water, but still. Okay. So how much do you know about this film?
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay.
I think if I have seen it, then I'm picturing like.
What are you picturing?
I think I'm picturing the poster.
The poster? What does the poster look like?
A poster. I think it's like someone in a scary kind of costume.
Okay. With
like a cool angle, like looking up, and like the words Swamp Things are at like an angle, almost like a shadow.
Okay. All right.
That's all I've got. So
okay.
This is gonna be short.
You want to guess what year it was made?
Sure.
What year?
1987. I didn't say 82.
You did not say 82. Oh, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay. I know not much about this film either, but I have read the comic book series. So, and I've seen the sequel. So, which is campy, which I was alluding to campy movies in our previous conversations. I don't know if this one's campy or not. It might be, so we'll see. The sequel is, though, so one day I'll show you the sequel, too.
Yay!
Yeah. Anyway, I'm still really excited to see this movie for other reasons, which I'll get into and nerd out a bit after you see the movie, okay?
Okay.
And man, I was so conflicted. Sorry, it's still like the pain is real. I was literally sitting here, like literally 1 minute before we're talking, and I pretty much made the decision like a minute before we started talking. Okay, so how are you feeling? You feeling ready?
I'm totally ready.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't think, for some reason, I feel like movies that are older won't scare me like movies do today.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
I feel like brave. I feel like
a redheaded Scottish girl, or
no. I feel like I will be able to suspend my belief.
Okay.
Disbelief. You know.
Disbelief. Yeah.
I'll be in the movie, but I won't be like freaked out like I would watching a movie made today.
Right. Do you know like about Swamp Thing at all? Do you know anything about
like the lore?
The main character?
Isn't it someone living in the swamp who, like, an experiment went wrong, and so now they're mutated. I think it's a man, is mutated and stuck in the swamp because he can't join actual society.
Okay.
And, like, things go from there.
That was actually a test to see if you paid attention for about the half a year when I was reading Swamp Thing and telling you about the plot lines. So
another test.
You remember quite a bit. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay. So what word or two, I'm not confirming any of what you said is true, even though I just said I'm proud of you, because that would tank you for the next question. Is what are your words you want to use to, like, explain this film?
Muddy action.
Muddy action. That's a very interesting choice of words. All right. Well, let's get to some muddy action.
Let's do it.
And see what you think.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
So.
It's another dark and stormy night.
It sure is. Yes, literally, like, it is dark, stormy, and rainy. So yeah. Wow. I'm trying to think of where to start, and the fact that I'm blanking, I just want to scream, which was a constant thing in this movie. There was just random, normal places you would scream, like when your body combusts into flames, that typically makes you scream, but just random times when you're in the swamp and, like, lamenting your new swamp creatureiness, screaming, that just sticks out in my mind. I'm rambling. I'm going to ask you if you could give us a quick summary of the film, Melissa, please.
I'll do my best. Okay, so the movie centers on a woman named Cable, who is a government agent. She's got pluck. She's got moxie. She's got a little bit big hair, and she's got interesting, unique eyebrows.
Okay.
So she is sent to a research facility located in a swamp. You can only get to it by boat.
Technically, you take a helicopter to the boats, and then you take a boat. But keep going, please.
But let's just remember, it's in the swamp. It's remote. She's sent there.
Yes.
And I think she's a technician.
I think she is, of some sort.
Yes.
She seemed to know, she had at least one line about a piece of hardware that the guy who was trying to mansplain to her was very impressed that she knew what it could do.
She also knew how to pan a camera on, like, the joystick thing. So she's sent to the research facility. She meets Dr. Holland, who is about to have a breakthrough in his research. And he, let's see. So his research is top secret, and it's about bridging the gap between plant and man.
Chills.
Yes. So she's learning all this first day on the job. And then the leader or the manager of this government facility, surprise, he's actually a evil power lord millionaire with an accent.
That's true. I think it was French, but I'm not sure. What was his name again?
I have no idea.
I'm totally testing you.
Bad guy.
Arcane. His name is Arcane.
Arcane. Yeah. Okay. So Arcane. Everyone has interesting names in this movie. So Arcane, he wants the formula. And he basically does this takeover of the research facility to get the formula. The formula, which is this glowing green juice, spills onto Dr. Holland. He bursts into flames. He runs out of the room.
Yes. Side note, first off, I just love any movie that has a point where someone reaches their fingers under a portion of their face and then rips away and there's another face underneath there. I just love that.
This was before, obviously, all of the Mission Impossible movies where that was like
Mission Impossible movies, but they did that in the 60s and 70s TV show Mission Impossible. But anyway, and I also strongly suspect this is also the secret of the ooze for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it looked like the same green stuff. Anyway.
Glowing green stuff.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Dr. Holland runs out of the room in flames, presumably to die.
Yes. I think it's odd that there was like this big security to get into that room. And I want to say there was an elevator, but maybe there wasn't. And I was confused because it was in a swamp. So underground would be bad and wet. And then he runs out easily while he's in flames. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Finishing the summary, which will be summary in length. So Arcane's after the notebook with the formula in it, and he manages to he and his goons kill like everyone here, but Cable, she manages to escape with the notebook. And so a chase for her ensues, but we also find out what really happened to Dr. Holland. Dun dun dun. He turns into a monster.
A thing?
Maybe? A thing of the swamp.
Of the swamp, yes.
Yes. Yep. And the movie goes from there to an ultimate showdown.
Between good and evil.
After Arcane gets his hands on the notebook. Oh, yeah. And you have to watch it to find out who wins the showdown at the end.
Yes, it's very unpredictable. I'll leave it at that. Wink, wink. When you said, it didn't occur to me, but yes, this movie very strongly centers around notebooks, which made me think of a movie I've never seen called The Notebook. And I wondered which one was scarier, because all of my perception of that movie seemed horrifying. But I don't really know that much about it, only that it's a movie I normally wouldn't watch, which makes me kind of want to watch it, actually, in a weird way. Anyway, that was a really good synopsis. I feel like you really captured a lot of the... Sorry. I was trying to think if you've missed any essential plot points. And the fact that, men that Cable just meets just immediately kiss her for no reason popped in my head, which was just kind of crazy.
Right. Dr. Holland, makes a move on her on the first day, I don't know, 5 minutes after meeting her.
Yes. It's the 80s, I guess.
After luring her alone to the swamp.
Yes. Yes. So romantic.
Yes.
Wow.
But wait, don't you have a wife? Oh, wait, no, that's your sister.
Or is it? Or, yes, I don't know. Speaking of when it was, you remember your guess for what year you thought it was, right?
87.
No, yes, 1987, yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what year it was really big?
I want to know.
1982.
Darn it.
I know. That tickled me. When I heard you say that, I was like, I can't wait to talk to her about that and let her know. Oh, wow. So how do you... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to also mention that along the way, an unlikely ally helps Cable.
Right.
Jude,
yes.
who she meets in a, gas station?
Gas station, I think, yeah.
Yeah. While she's on the run.
He's the attendant, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a learned young gentleman.
Yeah. With Urkel glasses.
Urkel glasses and a Refrigerator Perry t-shirt. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that kid had some line deliveries, didn't he?
He did. And also Dr. Holland, back to the, romance. That first infatuation explains why the Swamp Thing sought to protect her for the rest of the movie. And, there grew to be an understanding between the two.
An understanding indeed. So, how are you feeling after seeing this one?
It was fun. It was an enjoyable movie. Yeah.
Wow. I just remember thinking through most of the movie, the fact that it's written and directed by Wes Craven was fascinating to me.
Yes. I loved Scream, all the Scream movies. Yep.
Yeah. And that's, when people say Wes Craven, that's usually not the first movie that people think of. And I thought it was cute that you had said the Scream films.
What's the first movie people think of when they hear Wes Craven?
He is the creator of Freddy Krueger.
Oh.
So the 18 million Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street films.
So Freddy Krueger is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh.
Yes.
Man, that's a secret I've been hiding for years. That's okay. You're going to forget anyway.
I will. But, okay. So he's the creator of Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
I wish people could see the look on your face as you're digesting this information. It's wonderful. But as I was watching it too, I think you heard me multiple times go, man, this soundtrack really sounds like Friday the 13th. And after we watched it, I looked it up. The composer is the composer of Friday the 13th part 1 and 2.
There you go.
So I guess my nerd creds are intact. My score nerd creds are intact.
The score didn't bother me. I got the feeling that it was actually kind of bothering you, or was it just that you just kept like linking it to another movie?
It was that I was thinking about it, thinking someone was copycatting, and he was copycatting himself, which I guess you can do. Recycling makes sense for this guy, though.
It's more like his voice.
Oh, well, that too. But anyway, it was this movie I would call like a monster / action movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the tone, I've seen the Friday the 13th film so much. The tone of those movies is not like monster action. It's like slasher horror, which is slightly different. So I think you were seeing that in my brain. Like I was going, this is like trying to evoke feelings in me that are slightly off base. Like I'm used to, this is like action. There's guys chasing you with guns, not like there's a creature or a guy out there who's like in the shadows and instilling horror in you type stuff. So it felt a little like the dissonance was there for me. That's what you kept seeing.
Okay.
Anyway, so it sounds like you're glad you saw it and not sad. Is that true?
I am glad I saw it.
Okay.
It wasn't scary at all.
Oh, come on. Some of the fashion and hairstyles were definitely scary.
Some of the goons were scary.
Oh.
And their acting.
The acting, yeah. Did you turn to me at one point and ask me about campiness or something like that? Or is this as campy as you thought it would be or something?
Yes, that's what I was wondering.
And it definitely had some camp. A lot of films around then, though, like I'm thinking of Dawn of the Dead, from the 70s. That's slightly campy, too. It's almost like the feel of the time and the budget combined. Like this had a big budget, though. Like it was $3 million for the budget, which is, decent. And, but anyway, it definitely felt a little campy. Like, if they could have, maybe if they had $3.5 million, they could have got like a little bit higher tier supporting actors, maybe. I liked Arcane a lot, who I've never seen that guy before, but he was very entertaining to watch. He had a lot of cool lines, which is all Wes Craven, of course.
He did. He had the best lines, I think.
Totally did. But the henchmen were, maybe it was on purpose because they were definitely evoking a lot of comic book imagery. Like even in the cutscenes, they were doing like the old school pow, like, the jagged edge for a pow. Like they did that on cutscenes, and the different fades they did, I think were totally trying to evoke the comic book feel. Mm. And this was before, of course, there were a lot of comic movies. 82, there'd been like a few, but not a ton. So it was still very fringe at that point. Not in the Marvel world we live in now.
I think that's why I liked it. I think I liked the comic book feel because it's not just, it's not campy in a bad way. Mm-hmm. It's like fun.
Yeah.
Rollicking fun.
The bandana on the main guy, and he had like perm. He had a perm, I think, didn't he? Maybe it was natural. I don't know.
That could have been natural.
It could have been, but it was very curly. He was just, it was a very definite look, and I thought it was hilarious. And the guys, the crack squad of goons who were like military guys, how they were all in camo, right?
Yes.
They tried to give them this appearance of having like cutting edge technology. And they literally had like branches just sticking out of their headbands and stuff. And it looked so cheesy. It was great.
Yeah, but Swamp Thing, he had way better camouflage.
Oh, well, of course.
Because he could just sneak up on them and they had no idea he was there.
They never did. And they kept wondering where he was. And he just comes out of nowhere. And yeah, Arcane pontificating on his mastery, Swamp Thing's mastery of strategy.
Find the girl, you'll get the thing.
Yeah. The Swamp Thing. Oh, wow. Okay. So I don't really have an answer for this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How do you think this movie landed, like, in the world? Like, what do you think people thought of it when they saw it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah.
I don't have a real sense. Yeah.
I have a question for you since you've seen Swamp Thing 2.
Yes.
Was this what you expected? Is Swamp Thing 2 just like a continuation in the style, or were you surprised by the style of the movie?
I think I don't have a huge recollection of Swamp Thing 2. I have vague recollections, right? Just because I was very young when I saw it. But I think it followed the trend of a lot of sequels, where the first movies from the 80s, I mean, the first movie's supposed to be like super serious, and this is like a dramatic piece, and we are showing you human pain, and we are showing you human drama, and all this different stuff, right?
We saw pain and drama.
We saw pain and drama to the extreme. And that was definitely like, that movie, you could not call it like, they were not intentionally trying to make a funny movie, right? They were trying to make like a serious like action horror monster film, right? At least in my opinion. Now, Swamp Thing 2, from my recollection, is very like tongue-in-cheek, fun campy, where it's trying to be more like a rollicking adventure type thing. That's what I remember. That could be completely wrong because that's my young brain, right? From my interpretation of it. I just remember as a kid when I saw it, the effects of Swamp Thing were like really cool. They had really good makeup effects on them, and it looked a lot like the comic book. This one was kind of like, general. This was like you want to do a standard definition Swamp Thing. You don't want like a HD Swamp Thing on this one.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's I think how they kind of measure up in my mind. I feel like the sequel is trying to be more fun, and this one was definitely trying to be a serious film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So, in general, now that we've just spoken about how the movie actually like was executed and stuff, did you have any other thoughts on that? By the way, are you good? Okay.
On how it was executed?
Yeah. Like, what did you think about how they, the composition of it and stuff like that? What did you think of it?
Well, yeah, his makeup was not bad. I mean, it fit the whole film.
Yeah.
And the way they made his face and like the weird frown thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it just matched the film.
The other creations were a little rougher.
Yes.
Those ones felt like, man, we're getting towards the end of our budget. We just got to make more things. So let's just do this. What's sitting around in the studio? It kind of felt like that kind of vibe. Yeah. Anyway, so in general, do you think the film holds up well?
Did it ever? I mean, it's just I think it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because I like a campy movie.
Yeah.
And I like to not be scared, but watch a monster movie also. Like, it's fun. And it's fun to watch movies from the 80s, especially 1982.
Of course. It's a magical year.
But, yeah, I wouldn't say it holds up. I would just say it's fun to watch this time capsule.
Okay. That's fair. I agree. I think of other monster movies, and I think there were a couple parts in the movie that are a little long and redundant, like the back and forth in the middle. Like, if they had tightened that up a bit, I think it would be more enjoyable to watch repeatedly. Like, I think about like watching like the original Frankenstein, right? Like, that movie's awesome. You can watch it a million times.
Or The Thing.
Well, The Thing is a whole nother level. That thing, that holds up well.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying.
Yes. So, yeah, I agree. It's campy. It's fun. You should probably have a drink or two while you're watching to make it a little more fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
A green drink.
A green drink. That would be a fun theme. Yeah, you could totally just do something like that. This is my favorite question whenever we watch movies, especially like this. What messages do you think there were in this?
Oh, well, what truly lies in your heart?
Oh, yeah.
That is, the core of you is what will be revealed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What is your character? And what does it show about you?
I am totally blanking, but there's another... Oh, I'm just blanking on it. There's another movie or TV show where it's like that. It's like it just takes whatever's there and amplifies it. I'm just blanking. I'm going to be embarrassed when I listen to this later. But anyway, I've seen the theme in other places, and it's a fun one.
This might be a Wes Craven thing, but like the strong female lead.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed that. She was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
She could handle herself.
She could, except she also tripped every once in a while.
She did.
Dramatic
oh my gosh, she did.
You're like, wow, she just scaled a blah, blah, blah and shot 15. Oh, wait, she's tripping. Okay.
I forgot to include in my summary that she came to the swamp with her very like expensive high-heeled boots.
Yes.
And still managed to be the only survivor.
Yes.
from the takeover.
And she got a notebook. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
What was your... do you have any other thoughts on that time? Okay. What was your favorite part of the movie?
I like the beginning.
Yeah.
Kind of the introduction, the origin story. It all happens within the first 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're getting to know Dr. Holland, because you only see him for a short time before he's just Swamp Thing.
Totally.
So I like the beginning the best. I feel like the end kind of unravels a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the bad guy and what happens, Arcane, and what happens there. So the beginning's the best part, and then if you're going to ask me who my favorite character is.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's Jude. Jude is awesome.
Jude is your favorite character?
Yes, he is. Seconded by Cable, because she's, you know, the strong, like, can-do woman. But Jude is unexpected. Who would have thought in this movie that you'd have, like, a teenager kind of like the unsung hero or, like, the sidekick to the hero? Like, he helps Cable when Swamp Thing's not around. And
he has a sweet boat with his pole for going through the swamps.
Yeah, he's apparently left like to be in charge of the shop by himself.
In the middle of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, there's like no other humans around.
That's a good point.
Just him. So he was surprising. I was not expecting.
Nor was I. He was very surprising. I will definitely agree with that.
Oh, so he's not in Swamp Thing 2?
He could have been as an Easter egg. I just don't remember that part. I kind of want to watch Swamp Thing 2 now to see if Jude is in there as an Easter egg.
And he has Urkel glasses.
He really did. I think they were just called glasses back then. Just for the record.
Pre-Urkel.
That was just the 80s. They just had glasses. And they just all looked like that. I'm pretty sure. You said something in there where I was like, that's very Arcane. You're like, it starts out nice or beautiful in the beginning, and then it just unravels at the end. That sounds like something he would say talking about life or something. Like he literally quoted Nietzsche in the film. Like,
thank you for comparing my speech to the evil power lord.
I cannot help these things that come to my mind.
His accent was more German something.
I think it was all over the place. Maybe I don't know.
Undefined accent. That's actually what it says in the script.
Yeah, we had a yoga instructor with one of those once.
Oh
for
yeah,
for a long time. Yeah, we were always trying to figure out what their accent was. Reminded me a lot of Arcane, actually. Arcane was by far my favorite character, just because he was so over the top. He was like a watered down Bond villain, maybe?
Yeah.
He wanted to be a Bond villain, but he wasn't in a Bond movie. He
wasn't surrounded by Bond goons. Yeah. He was surrounded by really unintelligent goons who live up to the name.
I feel like they did that intentionally to try and make him look smarter. And maybe he did that too. I don't know.
Maybe.
But he also had all of his like random girls to like be his servants.
Right. Yeah.
And my favorite part was when he was sitting in the library or something, and I don't know, a servant comes up to him and he's like, whatever her name was, Susan, go fetch Amy to get my brandy. Like
Susan couldn't do it.
No. Her task is to go get someone else to do the task because she can't handle getting the brandy.
And where was this compound? It was within driving distance.
Yes, in the middle of nowhere, in the
middle
desert.
of nowhere.
The desert. The swamp. Yeah.
And it was extraordinary. Like, it was like this well-appointed mansion.
It had to have been like an old plantation or something if you're thinking about the context of where they were. But why would there be a plantation in the middle of the swamp is also another question. Yeah, like,
As they were going through the swamp, I was more worried about alligators than I was about Swamp Thing.
Really? Yeah. Like, about people being attacked by alligators? Or
right.
Just You were just, okay.
Like an alligator, like, actually coming in and doing some real harm.
What, speaking of Swamp Thing, the actor who played him was also in Twin Peaks.
Yes.
Like, what was that like seeing him as a younger man?
Oh my gosh. He's really handsome.
Whoa.
And his voice is super cool, which was also a bummer because when he's Swamp Thing, you don't hear his voice anymore. But like he has a unique voice. So I was bummed that you didn't get to hear him talk more.
Wow. Okay. It's peeking behind the veil of
jealous there?
A little bit. I mean, I didn't know. I guess I have to wear more lab coats and lower my voice to be a deeper timbre. It's something. I don't know.
No, your voice is great. Don't worry about it.
Thanks for the placation. I appreciate that. Wow. I always love seeing any actor 20 years before I saw him in something else. It's always interesting to see.
Totally.
It was fun to see him in that context. Okay. Did you have any, I mean, I went into this movie pretty blind. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. What was your favorite part? I think you already said that.
Well, I said my favorite character. My favorite part was probably, it was just the over the top in the lab scene when he reveals himself and rips his face. Arcane has like was it an English or Australian accent for the admin for the lab?
He went from one bad accent to another.
And then he ripped it off, and then it was him, and he started quoting Nietzsche and doing all these other things. That was probably my favorite part.
You liked the villain.
I did like the villain. Villains most of the time are like, in a lot of movies, are like some of the most interesting characters. Because the heroes are so, and you hear actors say this a lot. They love playing villains because the heroes, you're so like tied down. You have to like fit a certain archetype, right? So what you're doing, you have to stay in like lanes. Whereas when you're a bad guy, you can kind of be like, I'm going to try something insane. And the director a lot of times, or the writer's like, go for it. Like, I don't, there's no expectation.
And it's memorable.
Yeah.
Like totally. People remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I like villains a lot in movies. I think they can be really fun. And he was just a weird cat.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Yes. And yeah, he was a weird cat. I'll leave it at that. Just watch it if you want to know more about him and what's going on with him. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for me? I'm gonna lay. Okay. All right. So if you could be hybridized with any plant, what would it be?
Whoa. You know I love plants.
I know.
I need like a week to think about this. You go first and I'll think about it.
Oh, I have to answer. Okay. All right. If I could be half any plant, it would probably be a sequoia tree.
Ooh. Going for longevity?
I'm just going for longevity, yeah. Although I'd only be able to grow in certain climates. I'd be too tall for my own good and could only live in certain places, though, probably.
This question is reminding me of that Natalie Portman movie.
Oh, geez.
That still haunts me to this day. What was the name of it?
Oh, man.
Annihilation?
Annihilation, yes, that's it. Good job.
Thank you. So I don't know if I want to be hybridized with any plant. Okay, but my first thought was an apple tree.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Why apple tree?
Well, because we just went apple picking. So they're on my mind.
That's fair.
But they're amazing. They do live a long time, and I love apples. They like produce delicious fruit faithfully year after year.
I mean, since you went apple, what apple?
Oh, Macintosh.
No hesitation.
Hands down. Macs are perfect.
For context, too, she's talking about apples, not the computers.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
A lot of Apple aficionados would agree with your sentiment of Mac is perfect. But yeah. Wow, Macintosh. Why? Those are perfect?
Oh, yeah. They're the perfect apple.
Wow. Okay. Not the honey whatevers?
No.
Popular. What are those called again?
Honey Crisp.
Honey Crisp. That's it. Yeah. Everybody's going gaga for those things. They're like gold or something.
I know. Yeah. Macs are where it's at. Or Zestar.
I don't even know what that is. Is he part of the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes. It's Groot's apple-bearing cousin.
I am Zestar.
Yes, that's my Halloween costume.
Wow.
Now I figured it out.
I think you may have. Okay. Well, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Swamp Thing was fun. It was a great choice.
Oh yeah, like
I'm surviving the Halloween season.
Would you?
So this is good.
You want to like? Is it like a date night movie, or what is it for you?
I think it's like a campy date night, have a drink movie, or with your friends.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're enjoying Halloween though, so okay.
Yeah.
Are you nervous about next week at all, or I'm keeping that?
Should I be?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. We'll see. I'm easing you in.
Okay.
We'll
see how it goes. Good night.
Good night.
What is best for you is not to be born, not to be nothing. But the second best for you is to die soon. Nietzsche.
Doesn't anything work around here? Just me. Kicking it don't help nothing. You gotta punch it.